Connor.
Hi.
Right.
So
I've actually just moved to a different location. I don't know, just let me know. My video seems a bit unclear. Is it fine?
it is, I think, because the light is behind you, your face
Got
is
it.
not really visible.
Okay, let me just, sorry, give me a second. Okay,
We just
better.
went live, so I'll wait for a few more people to join us.
Sure,
Then set up till then.
sure.
Yeah, I think this is good.
Awesome, perfect.
Okay. We'll just give it like a minute more. We'll also circulate the live link for all those who want to join. Okay, I think we can start. All right. Welcome to the 46th edition of mojoSeries, a webinar series where we talk all things business. Joining us today is Harsh Lal, one of the founders of The Soul Store. A personal favorite of mine, this lifestyle brand started in 2013 and today has a multi-crore valuation. One of the first online brands to bring in licensed merchandising in India, it is now India's largest fan destination. Thank you so much for joining us, Harsh.
Thank you so much, Rai. Really, really good to be here as well.
So, Harsh, how is it going?
Going good. I'm actually in Bangalore right now. It's one of our recent stores that we did launch. So we've upgraded from 500 square feet stores to 5,000 square feet stores, and yeah, it's an interesting experience. It's been 1.5 months. It's been great. The kind of response and love that we've gotten, not just from a Bangalore store, but across all the offline stores that we have launched over the last few years has been great. So yeah, just in Bangalore to catch up with the team, chat with customers, and see how things are going.
So, all those who don't yet know, from having a solely online presence, Soul Store is now expanding to physical retail stores. They have a huge roadmap planned ahead, and Harsh has just been fritting about trying to get everything to stay in track and just trying to manage schedules. So I'm actually very glad you could make time to speak to our audience today.
No, no, really, really happy to be here. I mean, uh, it's yeah, it's been hectic. It's been crazy. There's just a lot happening at the Soul Store, and I'm sure we'll be discussing a lot of those points along this chat. But yeah, it's oh, you'd rather be too busy than not busy at all. So absolutely no complaints with the pace of things.
Of course, that is always the scenario. So, Harsh, I think what our viewers really need to know is that ऐसे इंडिया में clothes store accessory stores की कमी नहीं है, right? We have like
Yeah.
hundreds if not thousands of apparel stores out there, so many brands trying so many things. What is it about the Soul Store that managed to set it apart so like vibrantly?
I think there's 3 or 4 things, and I think whether this is irrespective of the industry that you are in, or irrespective of whether you're online or offline, I think uh, great designs, great quality, great price, and great customer service are 4 things that are never going to go out of fashion. So yeah, I think the advantage that we had, or I think where we differentiate ourselves, is that all of us have been fans of all of these TV shows, these movies, these cartoons, these series, these IPL teams that we work with. And I think when you start designing like a fan, when you start communicating like a fan, when you start interacting like a fan, when you start transacting like a fan with customers, I think that's when that experience changes from simply transactional to actually shopping from a brand that understands every customer's needs and every fan's needs. So I think an obsessive level of attention towards what would I want to see as a fan, what would I like to wear as a fan. I think that's always been at the very core of every single decision that we've made. And I think somewhere down the line that has connected with our customers as well. They've recognized, they've appreciated, and they've loved the little touches that we do, whether it's the freebies or the communication, the kind of products that we launch, the various licenses that we have, and just, in general, being a brand that's a happy, fun, friendly brand that you can trust. I think just honestly, just keeping the basics right, it's easier said than done, but if you just focus on these three or four core things, I don't see why a brand can't succeed.
I like how you use the word obsessive because I remember uh, I am a huge Harry Potter fan. A huge, like I have posters of Harry Potter's, that kind. And I saw the t-shirts on Soul Store and I was obsessed. I had to have it because it was unique. It was exactly, it was not like a simple अच्छा scar है या फिर Harry Potter का वो logo है. नहीं, it had the Marauders map, right? So I felt like I need to have this now. And it's not just Harry Potter. There are some big leagues that we're talking about, right? You spoke about licenses. You have partnerships with Marvel, Disney, WWE, IPL. These are big names to have on your store as licenses. So how difficult and how challenging was this process of licensed merchandising, especially with these big players?
To be honest, it was actually a lot easier than you're making it sound. Fortunately,
Okay.
I'll actually tell you how it all started. So back in 2013, 2014, when we started, the first two licenses that we got were Friends and The Big Bang Theory. So we clearly remember that, yeah, the first sort of licensors that we tied up with. Now we were a small brand. We had no money or no external money except for the little money that we had saved from our first jobs. Back in 2013, India wasn't a country that paid very well. So even our savings from our first jobs were not significant. And we had to make sure that as long as we can stretch these savings, we can keep the company going. The day the savings get over, we have to all go back to our boring day jobs. So we had enough incentive
Thank
for
God
us
that
to
didn't happen.
yeah, so we had enough incentive to basically keep it going. It also helped us set up an organization where we ensure that every person who comes to the source actually enjoys working, they actually have fun at work. So there's just a little bit of a context back in 2013 as to why we started off. Now coming to the license bit, right, Rahi, as I mentioned, Friends and Big Bang Theory were our two first licenses. What we realized is that the handful of people that were doing licensing in India had a pretty template model, right? They would take a style guide, which is the library of artwork that you get access to, and they would simply copy paste logos and fonts and basic artwork. Whereas we wanted to go a step beyond, we actually took their designs, we added a sort of TSS element to it. We made it something that's more interesting, something that's more fun, and something that's more exciting for fans. I'm not sure if you remember, but when we did launch our Big Bang Theory set of merchandise, we used to also give our customers a signed roommate agreement by Dr. Sheldon Cooper. Now, for fans of the Big Bang Theory, that was something that was super exciting. It's something they didn't expect. It's something that they hadn't seen before. So that's something that helped us really, create that connect with fans. And then when the Disneys and the Warners of the world actually saw what we had done with the Friends license and the Big Bang Theory license, they actually approached us on their own, saying, you know what, we want a brand like yours that's going to represent our brand and our characters in the country. We love the stuff that you're doing at a design level, at a marketing level, at a communication level, and you guys just seem like the bunch of excited fans that would really take our brand forward. So it was surprisingly easy working with them because they recognize the value that we built, and then it kind of snowballed. It after you get a first couple of licenses and you do a great job, then there are more and more licensors that keep getting in touch with you, and it snowballed from our first two licenses about 9 years ago to about 150 plus licenses on the website today.
So they approached you when they saw the work that was being done by you. It is not the other way around.
Yes, I mean there are a lot of times we get in touch with them as well, but the advantage that we have is we started doing licensed merchandise when it wasn't really a thing in the
Yeah.
country, and because licensors, because customers, because people in general across the country now associate the Soul Store as that one-stop destination for official merchandise. Our conversations have become a lot easier, and we are not treated like licensees. That some of the other people are we're treated more like partners. So in terms of our licensors helping out with additional marketing, our licensors working more closely with us on product development, our licensors working a lot more closely with us on actually planning campaigns with influencers.
Hmm.
It's a much stronger partnership. I would say it's a partnership of equals rather than licensor licensee. And somewhere our licensors have also realized that there is enough for us to achieve by working more closely with the source. And I think that's been one of the big shifts that we've seen over the last 4 or 5 years, where we are now working a lot more strategically with our license partners at a much, much larger scale beyond simply getting a license, making designs and selling it.
So when you started, I'm guessing a lot of people also did not know about this, right? And then you're saying that in the last 4 or 5 years you saw a shift. So what were some factors which have contributed to this immense popularity of licensed merchandise?
So there's a couple of, I think, TSS specific factors, and there's definitely a couple of broader factors that have helped us. One is, I'll start with the broader factors.
Okay.
We were at the right place at the right time, because back in 2013, I think, uh, smartphones, cheaper data, a lot more people accessing the internet via their phones was definitely picking up a lot, and it's only increased over the last 8 or 9 years that we are around. The time we got into licensed merchandise was the time that it wasn't really a thing. So we did get that initial advantage where people started associating us with licensed merchandise. Also, with the internet becoming a lot more accessible and a lot more affordable, you now have so many more people who are watching those same OTT shows that you are, right? It's a lot more democratized. It's not, your Marvels and your DCs of the world are not simply a metro or a tier one or an urban
Hmm.
phenomenon. It's actually cut across so many different levels of strata. So that's definitely been something at a macro level that has helped us. At a micro level, like I said, what definitely helped us is the kind of work that we were doing. It started getting recognized by customers. It started getting recognized by licensors as well. We tied up with a bunch of stand-up comedians back in 2014, 2015, and I think the biggest advantage that we had, Rahi, when we started off, we were a completely young, unknown brand. There was no reason for customers. This is pre-COVID days, obviously. This is those days where people were not comfortable shopping online. They were not comfortable transacting online. There was a lot more COD orders happening. So at a time like this, what really helped us was, piggybacking on the strength of our licensed partners. If I had to target you as an online customer, I didn't have to convince you that this is a great Harry Potter T-shirt. I had to simply inform you that you're a Harry Potter fan. Why don't you check out this merchandise, right? So I think the Marvels and the DCs and the JK Rowlings of the world have done a fantastic job marketing their IPs and their characters. They've invested so much time and effort in billions of dollars in sort of building that love. And our job was simply to represent those characters in the right way and make them affordable and accessible to customers. So I think that's something that really helped us break free from the clutter. It's also something that helped us managing our marketing costs, because it was a lot cheaper and a lot easier for me to convince a Harry Potter fan to buy a Harry Potter merchandise than to convince a random person sitting in some corner of the country that they should
Buy
trust an
something
online
online.
brand,
Yeah.
right? So I think that really helped us. And as a brand that was completely bootstrapped and that did not have VC money to burn on advertising or on discounts, that definitely helped us, scale up a lot faster and a lot more economically than some other brands would have.
No, you're right. I think because I am a Harry Potter fan, I would be at least 50% more willing to buy it and try it than if I'm just, if I stumble across it online store and I don't know anything about Soul Store, I don't know anything about Harry Potter, I just would not buy it. And especially, as you said, in a time when online was not a thing.
Yep.
So how did the, because okay, in a lot of interviews we have read that four friends in a garage, bootstrapped, right?
It's all true. Don't worry. We're
It's
not neither perfect.
no, but that's the thing. You guys started, first of all, though, how did the four of you get together? Because I'm guessing it takes a lot of guts to leave your job and just start something which is barely there. It's just an idea. Then what was it? What was the big break that you guys had?
Okay. So yes, it was the good thing or the bad thing. Like, and I'll start off with how we met each other. So there's four of us. I have interesting backstories with each of them. One of them is my really close friends from junior college. So we actually go back 16, 17 years now, well before the Soul Sword. We keep joking about the fact that we have the same set of friends. We see each other in office every day. We work out together. We go for jogs together. We play tennis together. Our vacations are usually planned together. And I think the only time that we don't spend each other is when we go back home and sleep in our individual beds. So that's a long running joke that we have. With the other two co-founders, interestingly enough, one of them went to DJ Sangvi, where a lot of my college friends ended up. So that's how I know him. And my third co-founder, interestingly, dated a really, really close friend of mine. So I've got very interesting stories. And the three of them actually met at their first job, ironically. So all of them were engineers, none of them liked engineering. They all decided to do a finance job after college, because that's where they got placed, and everyone needed to earn some pocket money for their daily expenses. So yeah, I think all four of us had very interesting stories. The one thing that we had in common was that None of us were super excited about what we were doing in life. It's not like we were getting paid a lot of money where it would have been a big risk for us to let go of that and start something risky. And we were very, very clear on the fact that this is something we're excited about, right? Your life is too short. You don't want to spend the rest of your life waking up every morning unhappy, pushing yourself to go to work. It's something that just didn't seem to make sense to us, right? That's not how life is supposed to be. That's not how things should normally be. The other advantage for us was we were young and probably naive or innocent or stupid enough to believe that just because we liked something or we found something interesting, we could make it work. So the advantage, yeah, I mean, I guess honestly, we just had very little to lose at that time. Worst case, you tried for 6 months, it doesn't work out, you go back, interview, and you get another job. Well, like, cool, we'd figure it out, right? But why not, in the larger scheme of 60, 70, 80 years of your
What
life,
if it succeeds?
yeah, why not give something 6 months or a year, right? You don't want to look back and be like, I wish I tried that out. So yeah, I think low stakes, not much to lose, everything to gain, and we're like, let's give it a shot.
And it worked out.
Yeah, it did. I mean, none of us have, no prior background in e-commerce, in apparel, no family businesses, none of that, right? I think just a very desperate sort of will to succeed, a very, very strong desire to make something or to create something that would go beyond us, and more importantly, just to create a happy place where people would love to join the organization and just be part of something that's bigger and a lot more fun than our day-to-day life. And I think somewhere, having that very simplistic but happy philosophy has actually helped us grow to where we are today, and it's the reason we have such a fantastic team as well.
No, I think a lot of our merchants in Mr. Mojo, when we communicate with them, that is also the narrative that they have is similar, that they want to create something of their own. They want to see their passion turn into something meaningful. They want to build something, and they're just not okay with living life chal raha hai to chal raha hai.
Exactly.
And I think just getting this platform to build something of their own and so easily has really helped them. But it's not always butterflies and roses, right? I'm guessing that there might have been instances where you did think, okay, this is not going the way we wanted, right? So what were some of the biggest setbacks that you saw, biggest challenges that you saw, and what are some insights that you've gotten out of them?
I think, yeah, there have definitely been some larger setbacks, but to be very honest, there are challenges and there are issues and there are problems and there are what the fuck is happenings on a daily basis, my language, and no one prepares you for this. Right? There's no entrepreneurship course as such. No one really tells you how to build a business. No one tells you how to scale up a business. You have certain problems when you're starting off. Manufacturers don't take you seriously. You are one of the smallest clients, right? In terms of overcharging you, in terms of not respecting timelines, you commit one sample, you give something else. We've had the most random issues, right? We've been told by manufacturers, here t-shirts are ready, come and pick them up. We spend the whole day outside the manufacturer's printing unit, and he's like, give me 5 more minutes, give me 5 more minutes, right? So we've had those times where people are not going to take you seriously. They think you're a bunch of young, excited kids and they have better things to do in their life. So those are the kind of issues we had starting off. Obviously, as you scale a company, as you grow bigger, some of the teething issues do get solved. But I think there is definitely a misconception that as you grow bigger and as the company scales, your problems reduce or disappear. Your problems don't disappear, your problems only change, right? So today, when we are a 250 crore a year company, none of us has experienced running a 250 crore a year company, right? None of us had any experience in setting up an offline store. We're soon going to be expanding internationally as well, and it's not something that we've done before. So at every point in time, I think it's a good thing when you have challenges and problems, because it means you're scaling to a level that you've not hit before. And I think that's what actually keeps it super interesting. In terms of setbacks, like I said, when our first lot of t-shirts came, the sizes were all over the place. Some of the t-shirts that we washed, and the color was coming off, the print was slightly different, and we were super scared because we could not afford to reprint those t-shirts. We're like, what if the customers don't like it? Now, fortunately for us, our first set of customers were friends and family. So when they got t-shirts that were slightly too big or slightly too small, or the color was a little off, they were nice enough to not complain. They were nice enough to not return the t-shirts, and we just kept them happily. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things that you are going to face on a day-to-day basis. I think what's most important is just approaching every day with a fresh perspective. I think realizing honestly that you're going to have more bad days than good. You're going to definitely have more downs than ups. There are going to be a lot of challenges that completely throw you off track. but it's important to not kind of give up. And I think it's also most important for founders to take ownership, because the easiest thing to do when things don't go wrong, or when things go wrong rather, is point fingers. The manufacturer should have done this on time, this should have happened, the courier person delayed things, something else went wrong. There are always 20 people that can be pointed fingers at, but eventually you have to realize that as a co-founder, you are the captain of the ship, you're the captain of the team, and it is your responsibility to make sure that everything is on track. Because when people are joining your company, when they are trusting you and your company with their career, there is an obligation that you have not only to your customers and to your co-founders, but also to the rest of your team, right? So we have had setbacks, like I said, with a lot of inventory issues in the starting, not being taken seriously. Basically, is this going to work? Is this not going to work? Obviously, some of the more recent ones were the biggest one. Probably, obviously, was 2 years ago when everything just completely went to a halt. We've had bad months, we've had good months, but we've never had things go from 100 to zero overnight, which was a super scary time for us. Um, as an online brand, or as a predominantly online brand at that time that was not selling essential merchandise or essential goods, we were not able to ship out any of our products, right? We didn't even know whether we can ship out products tomorrow or day after. So we had to completely stop our marketing budgets. We reached out to all of our customers and we told them honestly, hey, we're all going through a tough time. We don't know when we can ship your orders out, but it'd be great if you can shop with us today, if you can help support us today. And the moment we can actually, ship your orders out, we'd be happy to do that. Now, the customer love, the customer loyalty that we've built over the years actually helped us sustain over those couple of difficult months. We were also very agile at that time. We actually repurposed some of our machines, which are used to manufacture t-shirts, to start manufacturing masks. So we were actually able to start, manufacturing masks almost overnight, able to ship out those products as essential goods, keep some money coming in to the company while things improved. And I think what honestly helped the most was having a fantastic team. We've never worked from home before, right? We always thought if someone's working from home, they're going to take it easy, they're going to watch TV, they're going to relax. Why would anyone work unless you're sitting on the head? But the team has been absolutely fantastic. I think everyone believed in the company. Everyone believed in the fact that yes, the next 2 3 months are going to be difficult, but in the longer term, we believe in the business, we believe in the founders, we believe in the journey or the vision that we are a part of. And we had to have some really difficult conversations, in terms of taking certain steps to ease our cash flows.
Okay.
And our team has been extremely supportive. They realize that this is just very, very unfortunate, but I'm also super proud to say that although we had some really difficult months, we did not let go of a single person, right? We hunkered down, tried really hard, saw where we could cut costs, just tried reevaluating a lot of decisions that we had made. And we were able to come out of COVID a lot stronger than a lot of other brands, fortunately. In fact, post COVID, in the 6 months post COVID, we had our strongest ever months in terms of sales, in terms of profitability. It also gave us a lot of time to kind of reassess and think more strategically from a longer term point of view. And it also made us realize that there's a lot of things that you cannot be prepared for, right? A lot of times you have a certain plan on where you want the next 6 or 12 or 18 months to be, and things could take a completely different turn. So I think in terms of being agile, in terms of understanding that you need to be flexible, and most importantly, I think the biggest takeaway that we have from the last 2 years is that the only way you're going to succeed and the only way you can actually go through these tough times is if you build a sensible, sustainable business. If your business is built on discounts, if your business is built on cash burns, if your business is not making sense or is not profitable at a per order level, then you can either be a very lucky, very heavily funded company that can continue burning money indefinitely, or you're going to shut down. And this is something that we've unfortunately seen over the last 2 years. There are a lot of businesses that did not have their numbers or their basics in place, and a lot of businesses who did not have unit economics and profitability in their DNA actually have taken a much larger hit. The fact that we were always able to make money on every order and our pricing was always sensible, we were never burning money to acquire customers, we were never the 80-90% off brand. I think that actually helped us sail through COVID a lot faster and a lot better than some of our peers. So I think that's definitely something that we've learned, and it's something that we are very happy for, because this culture of profitability was there from day one. As I mentioned, we didn't have money to burn. So from day one to day infinite, we've always been a brand that focuses on profitability, that focuses on building a sustainable business, and we do not focus on growth at the cost of
No
margin.
shortcuts.
That's not the business model that we have, and we're very very happy for it.
No, I think the three main takeaways that I understood from this was A, having a community, having customers that are loyal to you is going to be priceless.
Yes,
B, having a team that believes in the vision of your brand is, again, you cannot replace that. And third is your business model should be sustainable in the sense that you cannot run a business just on discounts or burning cash for quick profits. You have to realize that whatever you're doing, the cost that you're putting in and the profit that you're getting, you have to be very aware at a unit level, right?
yes, because at some point when the VC money stops, then things aren't hunky dory anymore. So I think it's VC money is obviously good to have. It's great to have from a growth point of view. But if it's something that you're reliant on simply to sustain, then you're skating on very thin ice.
Because then you're depending on a third party. You're not depending on somebody who believes in your brand vision. They probably know, they have a good sense of what your brand can achieve, but they can pull out when they want. So you have to be able to stand on your own feet.
100%.
So I do actually want to talk to you about a very important aspect, that is marketing. Before that, we have a question.
Sure.
Aishi Sharma asks, what is the limitation to using brands in the designs? Like, can we use any characters in designs without any rights, without any issues?
You can use them without rights, but you will probably end up with a legal notice. So I would absolutely not recommend that. India is a country that's infamous for piracy and counterfeits. And I think I personally don't see it as a problem. I see it as an opportunity. The fact that there are or there have been so many fakes available in the market clearly meant that there was a demand for this merchandise, which also meant that when we were able to provide much better designs and a much better quality at a price point that was affordable, we were actually giving them a viable option to the fakes, right? And in fact, this is one of the reasons we started the Soul Store. Back in 2013, you had your 200 rupee, 300 rupee fakes, where you don't trust the quality. If you're lucky, your t-shirt lasts 6 months. If you're unlucky, your t-shirt shrinks after the first wash. The other option was spending 2.5 to 3,000 rupees, where your cousin from the US or from the UK actually gets it in the summer vacation or the Christmas vacation when they meet you. And for a large part of India, for Bharat, the option between a 2,000 rupee t-shirt and a 200 rupee t-shirt is not a realistic option. Everyone is going to go towards the 200,
And then complain about the quality in like two
or
months.
not, right? Or
Yeah.
be like, okay, no, in 200, this is all I can expect. I'm happy, right? Paisa vasool. So the idea was to give
But it's a
people.
huge gamble. Like, it's people, when they buy from the street, it's a gamble.
It is, but now as a fan, everyone cannot or would not spend 2.5, 3,000 rupees for a T-shirt, which is
Of
why
course.
there were two extremes and there was a massive gap in the middle that we found, which is the niche that we found for ourselves and grew the business. In terms of flexibility, how it works is when you do tie up with a brand, you get access to a style guide, like I said, which is a library of different artworks, logos, characters, etc., that you can use for your designs. Now, essentially, what most brands do is they will simply copy paste a logo or a text on a t-shirt, get it approved and printed and send it to the customers, which we feel is not doing service to fans, right? Fans want something more. Fans want something that they can actually proudly wear and show to the world. So we're always pushing the boundaries of what we can do, in terms of tweaking the designs, in terms of adding more fun elements, in terms of adding more fan elements. And over the years, we've also seen our licensors appreciating the kind of work that we do, which is why they've also been a lot more flexible and a lot more cooperative, in letting us do those experiments, because they realize that eventually we are serving the fan. And if we can do something that actually makes the fan more excited about the Soul Store and the fan more excited about the brand that we are representing, then everyone wins together. So yeah, I'm trying to oversimplify it for the sake of people who are not familiar with licensing. But for anyone looking to go off Google, copy paste logos and start their own t-shirt business, I would very strongly recommend against it. You make a couple of quick bucks in the short run, but do not start your business on the foundation of something that is not long term or viable or legal, because at some point it will catch up with you.
I think there's another question related to this. So Vishnu has asked, is getting a license an expensive process? So I think if you could just run our audience through the process,
Hmm.
maybe the basics of it, that will really help.
Sure. So is it expensive? Is it not? I think it's like everything else in the world. Everything has a price. Now, what that price is worth obviously depends on what the potential or what the value of it is. I'm going to try breaking down how licensing costs work or how the business of licensing works for everyone on this Facebook Live. So let's take Disney, right? What now happens is you usually have, say, a 1 year or a 2 year or a 3 year contract that you sign with the partner.
Okay.
Usually, most of these contracts will have an upfront license fee or a yearly fee. So that's the minimum commitment that I'm going to pay to you, simply to get the rights or to acquire the rights to use your IPs and your logos and your designs of my merchandise, right? Because you're the owner of that intellectual property, and I am buying the license from you to be able to use that on certain products for a certain period, for a certain time period. Now there is also a royalty component. So on every product that I sell, there is a certain royalty that is payable to the licensor, because I'm using their artwork, obviously, right?
Okay.
Now what happens, Rahi, is let's take a simple example where I pay a minimum guarantee or a license fee of 1 lakh, okay, for the year. So that's the minimum commitment that I'm going to give you. So tomorrow, whether I sell one T-shirt or I sell 500 T-shirts,
I
doesn't
have to pay
matter.
that amount.
I have to pay that 1 lakh amount. Right? That's the minimum commitment, and then it's my job to really maximize the potential of the license.
Mhm.
And let's assume that our royalty is 10%. That means on every sale, I have to pay you 10% royalty, right, on every product that I sell. So whether I sell 1 lakh, if I sell 1 lakh worth of merchandise, while the royalty would be 10,000, I have to still pay you 1 lakh, right? Because that's my minimum commitment. So up to 10 lakh of sales, I will essentially pay you a minimum of 1 lakh rupees. So if I do 8 lakhs of sales, for example, instead of paying you 80,000, I will still pay you a lakh. Now, when I cross 10 lakhs in sales, let's assume I've done 15 lakhs in sales. So my total royalty becomes 1.5 lakhs, which is 10% of that. I've already paid you a lakh at the starting of the year. So the balance 50,000 is something that I will pay you at the end of the year. So it's a minimum guarantee or a minimum commitment. And then eventually you see whether your minimum commitment is higher or the royalty is higher, and whichever is higher, that's the amount that you end up paying to the licensor. So yeah, I mean, I've tried simplifying it. I know it's a very obvious concept in my head, so I might not explain it in the best way, but that's broadly speaking how it works. And then obviously what the royalties are, what the minimum guarantees are, is a factor of what categories are you taking? Are you selling it in India or outside India as well? Are you selling it online? Are you selling it offline? What's the growth plan that you have? How much are you going to invest in marketing the brand to really scale it? So there's a lot of different aspects, but broadly it is a license fee slash royalty, whichever is higher model.
So I think I have completely understood the core concept of it, but what I'm finding a bit surprising is that how it changes for different things. So there are categories even within the license, then physical is different, online is different. So you are constantly negotiating that with the partner when you are scaling in different directions.
Yes, I mean, so yes and no. Yes is because it's simple. If you can monetize more categories, why would you not? If you can monetize more territories, why would you not? The biggest advantage, like I said today, is the fact that brands trust us. Brands want to work with us at a much larger scale. So today, if I want to get, I want to add another character, I want to add some categories, I want to experiment with something that's beyond the scope of my contract. Our licensors have definitely been very accommodating and very cooperative, in giving us that opportunity, because they also realize that if I want to experiment with something, I'm going to be investing a lot of money anyway in creating new categories, in exploring new territories. So they would rather have me invest the money in growing their brand rather than invest that money in an upfront MG. So that is unfortunately something that a lot of other brands don't get access to. When some of the smaller brands do want to negotiate with licensors, every negotiation, every addition is an addition of money as well. But we've now, as India's biggest brand for licensed merchandise, we've now created that value.
The
Licensors
safety.
understand, yeah, what we bring to the table, and they're more than happy to give us those opportunities because they understand the sort of overall benefits that we could have. And then once we have a sort of proof of concept in place, then we obviously have larger discussions on how we can really scale it up. But in terms of experimenting and trying new things out, our licensors are always very keen on giving us that first opportunity to try things.
So I have another behind the scenes question from Rapti. How do you scale inventory management for new businesses? Most of it is print on demand. So
Yeah.
how did Soul Store manage this in its nascent stages?
It was obviously tough. So we've never had a print on demand model. There is always a temptation of keeping it print on demand because your money is not stuck in inventory. But we realized that from a customer experience point of view, there were two or three challenges. The first is if you order a product today, it's going to take you a couple of days to print it on demand and then send it to you, right? And as a customer that's ordering online, you want everything yesterday. So having to wait for something is not it. It kind of dilutes the experience. The second thing that we realize is that the quality of print on demand in general compared to screen printing, which is basically what you do when you want to stock up inventory, there is a clear difference in the quality as well of print on demand products versus inventory products, which again leads to a lower customer experience. The third most important thing was print on demand per product is a lot more expensive than stock in inventory. So while your overall risk is less, the per product cost is actually a lot higher, which means that as a brand, you're either taking a massive hit on the margins or you're going to sell it at a much higher price to the customer, neither of which is sustainable in the long run. So yes, we've had to be obviously smart about our inventory. Um, what helps us even today at the scale that we are at is every decision is based on two very simple philosophies: data and customer feedback. It's basically that simple, right? So today, even when we launch any new category, any new fit, any new fabric, something that we're experimenting with, we're also kind of wondering how the customers would react. For every product or every category that we launch, we do at least 400 to 500 customer calls with people who bought that product. Every new product is rated on design, right? You're getting each product has a design rating out of five. Was this value for money? Yes or no? Did you like the fit of the fabric? Yes or no? Would you recommend this to friends? Do you have any other feedback? So every single process that we, or every product that we launch rather, is launched at a smaller scale. We do our customer calls, we do our feedback, we understand what our customers like. Are the returns higher, are the returns lower? Do people prefer basically a different price point? What's the competition like? What are our customers saying? Then that relevant feedback is passed on either to the strategy team or the supply chain team or the design team,
Hmm.
depending on where we need to improve. And we then make those tweaks before we launch it at a larger scale. So that is something that's super important. Even in terms of managing inventory, we are extremely lean. With our inventory. We never want to be a brand which is stuck with inventory. What helps us here is having our in-house manufacturing. So if I need to print a new T-shirt, I don't necessarily have to print 5,000 T-shirts. I can print 1,000 T-shirts. Within the first 2 days of sales, I get an idea on what the response is going to be. If I feel that this T-shirt is going to sell out, and the customers have liked it a lot more than I had initially estimated, having our in-house manufacturing gives us the flexibility of reprinting the product a lot faster, right? Which is a flexibility you don't have with outside manufacturers. They are always going to prioritize based on what is financially or commercially feasible for them. We will obviously prioritize based on where is the opportunity loss and where our customers really like the products. So I think in-house manufacturing gives us the flexibility of being lean yet efficient with inventory. Being extremely data-led means that we are not taking emotional decisions. We don't base decisions on what I like or what I would want to wear because I don't represent the country. And what also obviously helps, is having a super young, energetic team of about 300, 350 people. So when we are launching new designs, when we're thinking of new licenses to launch, I think getting a good 150, 200, 250 opinions from various people in their 20s and early 30s also gives us a good starting point on what we should and shouldn't do. So yeah, I think backing every decision with data and being obsessed with what customers are saying, what they like, what do they not like, what do they expect from us today as a brand. I think these are two critical factors that go behind every single decision we take, every single bet we take.
I really hope that answers the question. And again, such valuable insight. When we repurpose this webinar, we'll ensure that you have this list out there because this is actual pure gold. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
So shifting gears a bit, talking about social media and marketing, right? So as a business which is essentially based on fans, and fans are present largely on social media is pretty integral to the soul store. Not only that, you guys have managed to stay consistent across platforms, your brand stories, your visual language, the narratives that you guys put out, everything is very consistent. Along with that, influencer marketing is also something that the soul store has leveraged for years now. Recently there was an upsurge, people like Jim Sarb, um, Aisha Ramad. These are all up and coming millennial influencers, right? People we see on Indian OTTs and we fall in love with them, and they are standing up for Soul Store. And it's we just know that they're not doing it just because of products, because of marketing, but they really do believe in that lifestyle. So,
Yep.
how did all of this come across, and how important does it become when you're building a lifestyle brand?
I think great question. I think you answered the question yourself, in terms of building a lifestyle brand. What would help set context is here in how our marketing has evolved over the years. Again, coming back to 2013, early days, no money, have to be smart about every single rupee spent. Very closely tracking the ROI on our budgets, right? So Facebook and Instagram definitely helped a lot, and they help us today not only in terms of social media and building a community or building a sort of brand language, but even in terms of ads and directly in terms of revenue. Now, as we scaled the business, right, it became so in the starting days, obviously, our main focus was survival. Our main focus was awareness, and informing people, hey, if you're a Harry Potter fan, if you're a Marvel fan, if you want cool T-shirts, you want cool joggers, you want cool boxers, why don't you check out the Soul Store, right? So in the first 3, 4, 5 years, the whole idea behind our marketing spends and our marketing campaigns was creating that awareness around the brand to create visibility, to create noise, and to simply tell people, hey, this is a great brand, this is what we have to offer, why don't you check us out? Now at a certain threshold, when you solve the awareness problem, when there are enough of people that know about your brand, that have heard of it, or tried it out or checked it out at some point in time, and as your brand becomes bigger and bigger, then I think your marketing objectives also change. So our objectives over the years has evolved, I would say, from being purely awareness and ROI driven to ROI driven and brand building, which is why in the last couple of years you see a lot more tie-ups, with Jim Sir, with Aisha Ahmad, Ashish Achlani, Jadeja, Hardik Pandya, and Saradi Khan. So as brands grow or as brands evolve in their journey, it becomes now, fortunately, we're in a place where most people have either heard of the Soul Store or shop from the Soul Store or have a friend who shop from the Soul Store. What is important for a brand at our stage in this journey is to now further build that brand perception that we are India's number one lifestyle brand. And definitely, I think the credibility, the eyeballs, and the overall noise that you're able to generate with some of the biggest celebrities. You take cricket and Bollywood, by far the two biggest things in the country. And then when you take a Hardik and you take a Sara Ali Khan and a Ravi Jadeja, it helps you reach out to so many more people who may have tried you but may not have probably bought before. And the credibility and the eyeballs that a celebrity adds is something that really helps elevate the brand to the next level. So while our performance marketing is going to be an important part of our marketing spends, to make sure that that revenue is coming in month on month, uh, we have over the last couple of years dedicated a larger part of our branding spends to now brand building and brand perception. So tomorrow, when we're launching new categories, we're launching new styles, we're trying out different price points of categories at the source of, we're starting our offline stores. We're selling on an Amazon or a Myntra or a Nykaa. All of these shifts or these improvements in brand perception actually help the company at a 360-degree level. So that's the reason behind us doing this, and that's how our marketing has evolved over the years.
So now that you have this strategy, now it's about building trust, right? It's about building, as you said, credibility. How have you seen your target audience also evolve over the years? Because you keep drawing parallels with 2013 and now, right? But now that you're doing influencer marketing, you have such an extensive social media marketing strategy. How have you also seen your target audience evolve over these years?
So I think the one biggest, or I would say there are two big shifts. The first biggest shift, honestly, Rahi, is when I look at our initial couple of years versus the last 3, 4, 5 years. When we've really just scaled up pan India as a sort of nationally recognized brand, is our shift in the sales coming from your metros and tier ones, skewed more towards now your tier two and tier three cities as well. One of the reasons, obviously, for this is, yes, celebrities add a lot of credibility for brands, or for people rather from tier two and tier three cities that may not have otherwise tried us out. When your favorite cricketer, your favorite Bollywood actor, gives their stamp of approval to a
Yeah.
brand, it definitely helps. Second thing, again, coming back to, is the internet democratizing everything. Today there are so many more people, right? When we started back in 2013, if you went to a random tier 2 or a tier 3 town, people may not have known who Thanos was, right? But now one of the reasons that Marvel movies have done so well over the last couple of years is because everyone with a basic phone and free internet can go on YouTube and watch videos, or download movies or stream movies. So I think, you know, um, content becoming accessible to a much larger part of the audience, content becoming relevant to a larger part of the audience, people being able to shop a lot more easily online, people being comfortable shopping a lot more easily online. I think these three or four macro factors have definitely helped us reach out to a much larger, wider audience base where we're not, no longer an urban first brand. Also, some of the tie-ups, right? Like, if I look at your superhero movies today, you look at all our IPL tie-ups. These are all very masala tie-ups, for lack of a better word, right? You have people from tier two cities, tier three cities, metros, tier ones. Everyone loves cricket. Everyone loves Bollywood. Everyone loves a great superhero movie. Everyone's watching Netflix. Everyone is watching Amazon Prime. So I think these three, four factors have definitely helped us widen our audience base significantly over the years. The second big shift that we've actually consciously worked on is, the last couple of years, and I'd love to hear your feedback, is on launching a lot more women's categories, because this was a feedback that we had gotten initially that, hey, I love your t-shirts, I love your prints, but can you get something that would fit me better, from a women's point of view? And initially, when we did have limited funds, we did not have the luxury of having 2x the inventory, right? The same design for men and the same design for women. But over the years, we did start off small. We introduced a handful of women's categories, and every single time we launched a new women's product, it was always sold out. So we did realize over the years that, there's a big demand for the kind of designs that we do, but with women specific products and women specific fits. And that's a conscious decision that we've taken over the last couple of years, and our women's category is growing at about 40-50% faster than our men's categories. So that is definitely one more area of focus for us. That's one more place where we've seen tremendous growth. So even the male female skew that used to be there earlier is now almost at a 55-45, from almost an 80-20 when we just started off. So yeah, I think these are two big shifts in demographics as far as the social is concerned.
And now that you're planning to full on just launch physical stores, the shifts will just become more pronounced because now more people can stumble upon the store, go in, all ages. It's not just people who
Yes.
are looking for soul store online or who are just into pop culture.
No, I think again you said it perfectly, right? You have so many people who just come in with their families, want to come shopping on a weekend. It's almost like a fun picnic. And the
Yeah.
one feedback that we always get at our stores is that it's, the vibe that we give people is just like a nice, happy place, right? Whether you come, you shop, you buy one product, you buy 50 products, doesn't matter. People come to our store because they like the products, they like the feel of the store, they like the staff, and it's just a happy, nice place. So we have sometimes we have people, like people in their 40s coming with 10-year-old kids and 80-year-old parents. The 10-year-old kid will end up buying some smaller product. The 40-year-old people want to buy something. Sometimes the 17, 80-year-old people will also probably want to buy a plain t-shirt or a plain polo. And when we actually see so many different age groups of people stumbling upon the soul store, liking our products, and experimenting, right? It definitely, obviously, not only opens up a larger audience, but I think it also gives us a lot more validation on the fact that we are not only relevant to a handful of early 20 pop culture forward people, but anyone that likes a good product at a good price with good services is welcome to the Soul.
So Harsh, purely for lack of time, we have about 5 to 7 minutes, and there are some interesting questions that I really do
So,
want to ask you. And if we can't answer all of them, maybe we'll just send it to your team, to you. You can answer, and I'll make sure that these people get the answers some way or the other.
no, no,
So,
100%.
two questions that caught my eye. One, I think both of them were about the physical stores. So one is Harsh, what it's by Nivesh Anand. Harsh, what are your views on opening a physical store versus becoming an online only brand? Very interesting question. And I think I saw one more. Amit Rajendra asks, hi, I'm a t-shirt printer from Pune. You said you were going to have a physical store presence. So tell us about that. Would it be a franchisee? Would it be a franchisee model of business? So these are the two questions about your physical retail stores.
Awesome. So I'm actually going to answer Devesh's question first. What will help actually set context is why we decided to go offline. Now, we launched our first offline store back in May 2019. So it's been exactly 3 years. Realistically, it's been 1 year because about 2+ years I've been all over the place. So when we decided to go offline, right, Rahi, there were a lot of questions, there were a lot of skeptics, a lot of people wondering why would you want to spend so much money on rent, spend so much money doing up a store, inventory could get lost. There are always 50 reasons to not do something, and I think if you don't want to do something, the easiest thing in the world is to justify why it doesn't make sense. Now we had one very simple philosophy. At that point in time, we had built our online brand for 6 years. There was a certain credibility, there's a certain awareness, there's a certain love that we already had from our customers. Now we realize that if we want to start spending more money on branding, right, on brand building, if I spend money getting a billboard, I'll put my logo up and put a celebrity image up. Hundreds of people will drive past it every day, but it's not adding any value beyond that, right? Instead of that, if I actually bought an offline store in a premium location in the city, that could be a permanent billboard of mine that could also make money for me, right? Rather than being simply a static billboard.
Permanent billboard, I like that.
Yeah, so that was our idea, right? Why don't you have a logo in a prominent part of the city where people are driving up and down, but it's a physical store and not a billboard? Now, the advantage for that is when you have a physical store, your customers can actually experience TSS physically rather than simply seeing us as an app or a website on a phone like 500 other brands. When we launched new products, you could actually touch the products, you could feel the products. It gives you a lot more comfort when you shop offline because you actually know that there is a physical presence, and then it gives you a lot more confidence to later go online and check out the rest of the collection as well. Now, when we started our first offline store, again, honestly, we had no experience and we had no expectations. So we were very clear that for us, this is an entirely branding exercise. We did not want to burn money on an offline store. So as long as we were able to break even at our offline store, the branding was free. That was basically what our expectation was. So we decided to get a store at Linking Road, Bandra, which is one of the most premium locations in Bombay, to open an offline store. Because we realized that only if you put yourself in the best location with great branding and visibility, that's when you're giving yourself the best chance to succeed. Now, where most offline brands take 24 to 36 months to recover their initial capex in setting up the store, we were able to recover that amount within 5 to 6 months itself, and that surprised us. That also gave us a lot of confidence that our stores are not only free billboards, but our stores can actually significantly contribute to the top line and the bottom line of the country, of the company, right? That's when we decided to open our second and our third stores, both of which were signed just before the lockdown hit. So very interesting timing. But since then, we've launched another 4 or 5 stores during the pandemic. We managed to break even or stay profitable even during the toughest lockdown months. And over the last 3 or 4 months, our offline stores have seen the highest ever growth in terms of revenue and profitability. So today we are at 7 stores. The eighth store is opening very soon. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but it's a city that lots of customers have been asking
Maybe
for.
a certain city, people watching from that city can get excited.
Yeah, it's. I'm just going to say it's slightly north of Bombay. So
Okay.
yeah, it's not south of Bombay, it's north of Bombay. And then we have
Yeah.
a ninth store as well that we've just recently signed, which is going to go live in the next couple of months. Our plan is to now, is for offline to contribute to a much larger percentage of our business. We look to scale our business from 250 crores to about 1,000 crores in the next 2 to 3 years. And we expect about 50 to 60 offline stores at that point contributing anywhere between 200 to 250 crores. So that's the kind of revenue contribution that we expect from our offline stores. That's the kind of expansion that we have planned for offline, and that's why we actually decided to go offline. And I hope I've been able to answer Nivesh's question.
No, absolutely. I think you also answered. There was another question that I saw. How do you get your brand out there? How do you get more people to stumble across the brand? I'm rephrasing, but that also answers their question as well. So, because we have run completely out of time, I really do want to thank all our viewers. I want to thank Harsh, and for all entrepreneurs out there who are also planning to start their own business. Just like Harsh and Harsh's team did, all you need is to be very clear about your brand goals, about what you want to sell, how you want to sell. And of course, InstaMojo is, we will, you can come create a free online store, check out our tools. You don't have to worry about inventory, it gets automatically updated. There are a bunch of other features that you can also try out and see how it helps the business, and then get on the premium plans. So I think what is very clear from my conversation with Harsh is that if you have a vision, a dream, and passion, and most importantly, you are listening to what your customers want, then there is no reason why your business does not have the best possible shot at becoming successful. So, thank you so much, Harsh, for joining us. And for
Sure.
anybody who has yet not registered for this webinar, the link is in the description. Please register. There is a special freebie for all those who are registering. We'll get it to you just after we are done with the live. Thank you for joining us, Harsh.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rahul. Thank you.